Hey everybody, it is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Friday, May 1st, 2020. We're in the first day of the trading month and the last hour of the trading day. I mention this each day, but I think it's important. In my opinion, at least for me, the most valid time to make my buying and selling decisions is at the end of the day, right near the close of the market. I say this because during the day you have the day traders and the algorithms controlling the price. At the end of the day, you have the large financial institutions coming in. They are dealing with the most money, extremely smart people, best technology, best information. And at the end of the day, in the last hour, they start taking the pricing controls away from the day traders and the algorithms. And I want to follow with them. I want to piggyback on what they are doing. And so that is why I make the majority of my buying and selling decisions right near the end of the day. I do have a couple day trades today that I'm going to share with you, and we'll get into that in a minute. I'm actually still in the middle of this trade right here, and I am watching carefully Apple on the 5-minute chart right here. Anyway, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. It's always nice to see everybody. I always look forward to it. We have great people here, great comments, great poems, great insight, and I really appreciate you. I really appreciate everybody coming and spending time here. I really, really do. So anyway, wow, what a day. What a day. Dow Jones is down 580 points. The NASDAQ is down 264 points. The S&P is down 2.72 points. So the NASDAQ's getting the worst of it right here today. So let's take a look here. And Mohammed is here. Hello, Greg. Hello, fellow traders. Hello, Mohammed. Nice to see you, my friend. Appreciate you being here, sir. Dan is here. Hey, hey, how's it going? Miko, good to see you, my friend. Appreciate you being here. I hope you're doing well. Zach is here. Hello, Zach. Nice to see you. Quad Racer, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Quad Racer. And I did send you over the list of the charts, and I did get your email today, so thank you. Marco is here. Hey, buddy, what's happening? Hope you're having a nice evening in Slovenia. Appreciate you being here. Hello, Kamal. Good chatting with you earlier today. Thanks for coming. Dirk is here. Hello, Dirk. Nice to see you. Appreciate you being here. Hi, Frank. Good to see you, my friend. Always nice to have Frank here. And Gert is here. Hi, Gert. Hello, everybody. Hello, Dirk. Oh, Gert knows Dirk. How about that? Deanne. Hi, Deanne. Nice to see you. Appreciate you being here. Hope you're having a nice day. I am a little, what's the word? Distracted because I'm watching Apple here on this 5-minute bar, which I believe you can see, right? Yeah. I'm going to go over this trade in a minute, but it's getting up here where I may be taking profits on this trade. So we'll take a look at that in a second. So anyway, all right. Well, listen, here is the plan for today. First of all, we're going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we're going to come back. I'm going to take a look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them going forward. Then some of you have been kind enough to share your trades with me. I will be going through those and taking a look. After that, we're going to spend a few minutes on trader psychology. Very important, in my opinion. Trading discipline, following your plan is the most important skill you can learn in trading. You do need to have skills as far as looking at resistance and support and entries and exits and all that kind of stuff. That is true. But sticking with your plan after you develop a plan is very important. Okay, I've got to get out of this trade. Okay, now I can think more clearly. Now I can think more clearly. Let me see where I got out of that trade. 291.73. $291.73. All right, I'll explain that trade in a minute. But we are going to spend a few minutes on trader psychology, talk about that. Hopefully by me repeating it each day, you'll listen and you'll internalize, and you will start following your plan better. And if you're not, it's a skill you need to develop and need to work on, because really at the end of the day, unless you can do it, you're not going to be a profitable trader in the long run. Excuse me. All right. After that, we are going to go down through my watch list one by one. I have 3 requirements when I'm looking to enter any trade. First is I want to make sure I have a confluence or a combination of indicators lining up. I look at indicators as potential groups of buyers, and you will put yourself in the best position. You'll give yourself the best odds to have a profitable trade if you're in the company with as many other buyers as possible. So if you can get a combination or a confluence of indicators, or in other words, buyers lining up, you'll put yourself in a better position to have. So first, look for a combination or confluence of indicators coming together at the same time on one time frame, and ideally on multiple time frames. Requirement number 2, make sure you have a good risk to reward ratio. You can have a great setup, but based upon what your filters are as far as overbought, oversold, extended, I use RSI, I use Keltner channels as kind of my guideline. Sometimes you'll have a good setup, but if you're overextended based upon RSI or Keltner channels like I use them, then you can't take the trade. So just make sure you have a good risk to reward ratio, at least 2 to 1. Step number 3, make sure you do not have too many positions. Make sure you do not have too many correlated positions. You don't want to have a bunch of tech stocks, because if it goes up, you have a great day. If they all go down together, not such a great day. So just make sure you have some diversification in the types of industries of the stocks that you own, and then also maybe outside, like gold and silver and oil, so forth and so on. So all right, then after I go through the watch list, if I find something that meets all my criteria, I will go ahead and place the order at the end of the day after the market closes. If anybody has any questions for me, please let me know. Happy to answer, happy to clarify. If you have any stock symbols that you'd like me to look at, happy to look at those. Just type them in the chat. If you would like to get my response on a symbol before the market closes, if you think it would be helpful for you or other members in the group, just make sure you put a star by it so I know it's time sensitive. All right, so that is the plan. Hang tight for about 40 seconds. I'll be back after I run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Thank you. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All righty. Thanks for sticking through that with me. Appreciate it. Quad Racers is hoping for thoughts on Walmart and Adobe. Well, Walmart is up today, which is good. You do have a V1 here today, back in the value zone, but you know, we moved up nicely and we cut right through the value zone, and now we've closed below the -1 ATR channel. So we do have a V, almost a V2, not quite. But I would not take this because of the big downward moves. Usually when you have big downwards move and then a V1 or V2, you might go up for a day or two, then come back down. I'm looking for a little bit longer type of potential trade. Because we closed under the 1 ATR channel, I like to see it close back in the value zone. Wouldn't be surprised if it rallied, but I would be surprised if that rally held long. Then I would like to see it come back down a little bit. The people that bought here sold into here, then get a higher low V1 or V2. So Quad Racer, this is one of your upcoming lessons. We haven't got to that yet. But yeah, I would not buy Adobe here, me personally. I mean, Amazon personally. Adobe, I don't, look, we've made a lower high, we've made a lower low. Looks like we're going to close below the previous day's low. If I was in this trade, that's where I would be getting out. I would look for a pullback into the value zone and look for a setup in here. Greg, can I have your view on MTA? Yes, sir. Well, it's a V1 right smack dab in the value zone. We were above the value zone. We came into the value zone. We came in, we held, we went down. Ideally, I'd like a little bit more sideways motion, but it, if you look back here, it has held at this level, and it did have a V1 here, and it is above the 50-day moving average. Yeah, it's not too bad, really. It's up today too, which is strong. If I bought this here at the end of the day, I would. My stop would be closed below halfway of today, which is the washout bar. Let's look at the weekly. It's not bad. I mean, it offers a good risk to reward ratio. If you're wrong, hopefully you're wrong small. If you're right, who knows? You might go up, back up and test that. So not too bad. Zach, hey Zach, good to see you. Appreciate you being here. Frank, hey, Frank has a poem for us. The best opinion is price, not a roll of the dice or when you have to think twice. For money buys stock and stocks follow money. They both allure and entice. You can be sure in the end it's the price. Boy, isn't that true? Let me try that again, Frank. The best opinion is price, not a roll of the dice or when you have to think twice. True. For money buys stock and stock follows money. They both allure and entice. You can be sure in the end it's the price. Man, I say this every day, but I'm so impressed with Frank's poem, I can't even stand it. One, that he can get things to rhyme. And more importantly, just the wisdom in his poems. I mean, my gosh. I would think that Warren Buffett was actually Frank, and he came to visit this live stream each day. And because that's the kind of wisdom that Frank's poems are. Hey, Steve Burns, good to see you, my friend. Appreciate you being here today. Thank you for including me on your list on Twitter today. That's always an honor, always a privilege to be listed on your top list of traders, and always an honor to have you here, sir. Really, it's just really cool. I appreciate it. Steve says, hey everyone, looks like I'm going to go back to all cash today. Lots of warning signs of a broken upswing. Oh, okay, good. I've got all your trades over here. We're going to be going through everyone's trades, so that will make it easy. I was wondering what Steve was going to do today with this kind of big volatility day, so I guess that answers my question. We'll go through. Javier, big day today. Hey Javier, big day today down. Were you short? If you were short, you definitely did have a good day or a big day. But thank you, Javier, for coming. Okie dokie. All right. Well, let's get to it. Let's go through my trades and everyone else's trades. Okay, Southwest Airlines. Well, shoot. I had a nice trade on this. I bought this back here on the 28th of April. Had a nice V1 entry. And what I liked about this is that we went down, we moved sideways, we stopped going down. I always like sideways movement. You hear me talk about sideways movement all the time, because that means that the buyers and sellers are equal. And more importantly, that it stopped going down. It finally did have some buyers. Then on the day that I bought it, we went to the downside, reversed back up with a nice V1 after this sideways motion. I bought it here. Oh, I bought it a little bit before the entry. I bought it at 29.28. Had a huge day the next day. Did take some profit off, which is, this really kind of shows you why I like to take profits when I get them, because if it does go back down like it did today, well, then I've locked in at least some partial profits up here, and it mitigates the loss to the downside. So, the second day I bought it, it moved more than 1 ATR for my entry, which means that once it moves more outside of range, outside of noise, once it moves above 1 ATR, then I will start to trail it. Yesterday was an inside bar, didn't do anything. Certainly looks like today is going to close below yesterday's low. So that is my trailing stop. It's slightly above where I bought it, but again, I did take 2 nice profit targets here on this day here. So this, knock on wood, but this, even though it's a big reversal, it's still a profitable trade because I scaled out up here when the market wanted to take some shares from me. So I definitely will be getting out of Southwest Airlines today unless we have some miraculous comeback. SPY. Okay. In case we have some new viewers, quickly want to go over this. I do buy the SPY every day at the close. I hold it overnight. I take that overnight risk and I sell it first thing the next morning. This is based upon a study from Liz Ann Saunders at Bespoke Invest on Twitter. With this approach, they tested two different ways. First way was they tested buying at the SPY at the open, holding it through the day, selling it at the close. If you did this every day since 1993, you'd have returned a negative 13.9% return for all your problems or all your trouble. If you did the opposite, which is what I do, buy the SPY at the close, hold overnight, take that overnight risk, sell first thing the next morning, it returns 634.2%. So this way, negative 13.9. This way, positive 634.2. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Doesn't mean it's going to work in the future, but it has worked well in the past over time. And if I'm going to allocate money towards something, I'm going to allocate it towards something that has some good results, right? Blue line, buy in the afternoon, sell the next morning. Ups and downs, not a steady up, right? Lots of drawdowns, but over time, it has been steady. The orange line, buy in the morning, sell in the afternoon, has really done nothing. So this is why I buy the SPY every day at the close, hold it overnight, take the overnight risk, sell it first thing the next morning. But again, there are drawdowns. 2020 has been a horrible year, although I've had quite a big comeback in over the last month, but the beginning of the year was horrible. 2019 was fantastic. So, that's just trading. So that being said, today was not a good day for the overnight SPY trade. I bought it yesterday at 290.48 and got clobbered. 285.16, sold that for a loss. So that's how it goes. Doesn't always, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just over time, it tends to be profitable. So, the last month, lots of nice gap ups overnight, right? But now two losing days in a row, but it's okay. I position size with a very conservative position size at this point. And so, of course, I'd like it to go up, but that's just part of trading. So I will be buying this again today at the end of the market, holding it over the long weekend, which is scary, but that's where the potential rewards come as well. So got out right at the open at 285.16. Okay. Day trade on Boeing for me today. This one was a losing trade, although a small one. Let me go back here, show you where I bought this. So here on the 5-minute bar, we had a V2. Here's day one, or here's bar one, bar two washed out bar one, bar three closed over bar one's close. I didn't buy it here. I didn't want to chase after that big bar, but Zach, if you're listening, the next bar, when we got halfway of this big bar up, a lot of times that will hold. I like the movement. I like the volume, but I decided to try to get a little better risk to reward on this trade by waiting. If it would have gone up, I would have just missed it, but it did get back to halfway. I bought it here at 134.99. My stop was a halfway of the washout bar, the day two bar, and then 10 minutes later, I sold it for a loss, 134.75. I bought it for 134.99. So I lost about 25 cents on it. No big deal. But you can see it was a good idea to get out because it did go back down. So anyway, that ended up being a losing trade, but it was a small losing trade, and that's the important thing. Okay, Apple. Now, Apple turned out to be a good trade. Let me explain this to you because, Dr. Elder uses something that he calls triple screen, where you look at 3 different screens. Well, here is the daily, right? the daily is definitely an uptrend. Then I went to the 39-minute chart and it came right back into the value zone. So the daily was an uptrend. The 39-minute chart was in the value zone, which was good. That tells me potentially we could have a bounce here. But then I went down to the 5-minute to look for the entry. And I bought the entry right here. Here we closed below the -1 ATR channel. We came into the value zone. We came back down. We had a nice V2. Day 1, day 2, or bar 1, bar 2, bar 3, bar 2 washes out bar 1. Bar 3 closes above day 1's, bar 1's close. My stop would have been halfway of the washout bar right here if I would have had a close in the subsequent bars, having a close below here, but it didn't. It moved up quickly and strongly. Then I'm over the 200-day moving average. I'm also over the 50 RSI. It moved more than 1 ATR from my entry, so now I'm trailing it with a close below the previous day's low or a loss of the 50 RSI. And when we started the podcast today, we were right in here, and you can see it went up, rejected the downward sloping 50 moving average, and that's why I sold it. I sold it here at 291.73. So I bought it at 290.27, and I sold it at 291.73. So about $1.50, pretty good. 5, 10, 15, 20, 20, in about 40 minutes, but not too bad. So that definitely wiped out the small loss from Boeing, and that was a good trade. That was a good trade based upon the V2. Now I didn't, if it had rejected the 200-day, I would have just gotten out for a small gain. If it had gone down, I got out for a small loss. But in this particular case, it moved up nicely. Didn't close below previous day's low, didn't close below the 50 RSI, but here when it closed below the 50-day or the 50 bar moving average, that's when I got out, and then it went down, and now it's higher, but that's fine. Fine. Just happy to have a positive trade on a day like today. And then Apple, also I sold my calls yesterday on Apple before the earnings. So I am out of Apple completely. Okay. You're welcome, Frank. With you there, Steve. Steve says Bezos and Musk really lead the bears today. Yes. David, hey, good to see you, Dave. Javier says his girlfriend's Prego. Oh, interesting. Thank you, Greg, regarding Walmart. You're welcome. Zach says, Greg, thank you for always pointing out the fib levels. As I told you on our one-on-one call a few weeks ago, the repetition really helps. Well, that's why I repeat the same thing every day. I'm sure it gets annoying. It's a little annoying for me to repeat the same thing every day, but it's important. It is important. And, you can learn about something, but unless you see it repeatedly, I don't think people just learn it as much. They have to see it over and over. Zach says, also, I sincerely hope Elon got hacked today. Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's start out here. Take a look at some trades, see what's going on. Bing He did buy TLT back here on the 17th of April. Not clear what the entry was, and that's not a dig at all. I'm just not clear what the entry was. I think it was the previous day closing outside of the 1 ATR channel, I think. But Bing He, correct me if I'm wrong, but he bought it at 168.80, moved up nicely, then moved down, then moved up, moved down, up a little today. So far a little under water on that particular trade. Bing He also, another trade by Bing He, also shorted GDX. The gold miners at 32.90. Yesterday it moved down for him nicely, but today gapped down and big reversal bar. So it looks like he's slightly underwater on GDX. So Bing He, if you're out there and there's any changes to this, please let me know. And by the way, I did get your email today and I will reply to that. Next trade for Bing He. Bing He did buy Netflix. Looks like he bought it on a V2, 410. I'm sorry, V1. Bing He has to buy the next day at the open because he lives in Singapore in the time change. So he looks like he bought this V1, but he had to buy at the open, 410.40. Screamed up nicely. Today it was actually up, down a little bit today, but now but still profitable on the trade. So if there's any changes there, let me know. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Here's some trades from Steve Burns. Steve Burns did buy SQ, which is Square. He bought it, I believe, here about 61.80 when we had the 1050 crossover. Did move up nicely the next day, sidewards the next day, and then down today. The crossover is still in place, but I believe Steve just said that with the volatility, I think he's going to be exiting all positions. But the good news is this is still slightly in the money by about $1. So that's good. So it looks like he'll be taking some profits on that. Nike. So Steve also bought the 1050 crossover on Nike at 88.20. Moved sideways for a while. Went up nicely a few days ago, reversed back under. In the last 2 days, it's gone down. So looks like he's lost a few dollars on this trade, and I think he's going to be getting out of this trade. For my students out there, you know I would get out of half a position if I take a crossover, 1050 crossover, if the price closes below both moving averages. But I think Steve's getting out of all of these today. So this one's down 2% today. ProShares. So Steve took the 1050 crossover at 109.38. Double leverage Qs screamed up nicely, but today big clobber down. It's down 5.86%. So slightly over his entry point. So looks like he will, if he does get out of this, looks like he will be at least closing with a profit, but just a lot of profit given back from this down move today. So if there's any changes there, Steve, let me know. Monster. So Steve took Monster yesterday when the 10 crossed over the 50, bought it here at 61.87. Today, Monster, obviously just went down with everything else. Looks like the 5 is crossing under the 20, so I'm pretty sure Steve is going to be exiting this today. But that's the key with crossovers. There's nothing really magical in them other than, if there's an uptrend, they'll tell you there's an uptrend, and if it goes and trends, you'll be in it. And if it reverses back down, it can get you out quickly. So the key with these crossovers is that they're not always right, but they give you a structure to stay possibly long for a long time if you get a big trend, but to get you out quickly if you are wrong. SPY. So Steve did buy SPY 1050 EMA crossover, same crossover as the rest on SPY, bought it 285.80. Next day went screaming up, but now it's down and now it's down. And so anyway, this one down 2.54% today. So again, I think he's going to be getting out of that. And lastly, IWB. Steve bought IWB 2 days ago when we had the 1050 EMA cross up at 162.59, and today down pretty big to 155.71. So Amazon, let's go over here. Amazon. So GM, who was in the chat the other day, did buy puts on Amazon. She bought puts down to 1900 expiring June 18th. I guess those are probably in the money at the moment. So congratulations there. Let me know if there's any changes. And the clear winner today is Zach. Wow. Zach bought GameStop back here on the 28th of April. He bought it at 528. moved up nicely sideways today. It was down and had a huge reversal, up 4.89%. So congratulations, Zach. You are the winner of the day. No doubt about it. Okay. Glenn says, hi, Greg. IWM is 50% weaker than Qs today. Looks like small caps are not validating the rally. Yep, and that's good for Glenn because Glenn is long NASDAQ and he is short IWM, and IWM is 50% weaker. So that looks like that worked out. Very nice, Glenn. Zach says, recap on my GM since I wasn't here yesterday. I sold yesterday at 571. I bought it again today at 558. Oh, okay. So you got out at 71. You rotated in earlier at 558. I plan to sell at the end of the day, or if it falls below $6. Perfect. I plan to sell at the end of the day, or if it falls below 6. So if it holds above 6, you're going to keep it. Anyway, what Zach said there is very good. He has a plan, right? He doesn't know the future, but he has a plan. If it does this, I'm going to do this. If it does that, I'm going to do this. Miko says, Greg, how does VRTX look to you? Not bad. Not bad. I mean, we were above the value zone. We came into the value zone. We stopped going down for 1 day, 2 days. Now we have a V2. We have a V2 in the value zone, which I like. You know, if I were to buy this today, I would hold this unless the coming days closes below halfway the washout bar. The washout bar was yesterday. It's a 5184 RSI, which I like because so it has support of the 50% Fibonacci. It has support of the 50 RSI here, has a nice V1. It does have the 20 and the 10 and the 5 as resistance above, but you can't have everything. But yeah, and it's up today, so the relative strength is good. On the weekly, you know, we have support of the 1 ATR channel below us. Yeah, not bad at all. Zach says, GM is my short squeeze play. Had nice movement when someone bought 1 million shares today. Still 52 million shares are out short. Wow. Dan says, I also appreciate the repetition. I consider your program in a group classroom. Thank you. You're welcome, Dan. Frank says, I don't recommend doing this, but I did trade Amazon in the last hour, in at 24.38, out at 24.85. Congratulations, Frank. Frank's been doing really well with his earnings plays. Marcella, hello, Marcella. Nice to see you. Good afternoon, everybody. Have a nice weekend. Thank you. You too. Steve says, I had a fantastic April, but May is starting out in the hole, but a long time to catch some moves. 100%. Steve had a great April. Steve says, that's a double message there. All right. Well, looks like we are selling off a little bit more here at the end of the day. You know, this is where I got out of my Apple trade because it rejected the 50. You know, nothing magic about the 50, but that was just my plan. Then I thought I was going to run away from me. Well, now, you know, look, on a 5-minute bar, we're above the 1 ATR channel. We're back in the value zone. We are continuing to go down. We are still continuing to go down. But if we stopped going down sideways, I look for a V1 or a V2. Okay. So listen, before we go down through my watch list, before I look for my 3 qualifications, which you know what they are, combination or confluence of signals on the charts, 2, good risk to reward ratio, 3, keeping in mind correlation, account heat, all that kind of stuff. But before we do that, I do like to talk about trader psychology, just some good trading quotes, some good trading sayings, trading words of wisdom, and there's some really great Twitter channels out there. But I always like to do Twitter and Facebook channels, but I always like Steve Burns' post. He has such great things. And listen, if you don't follow Steve on Twitter, you should, at @SJosephBurns on Twitter. This here is actually from Facebook. folks, in the New Trader, Rich Traders channel on Facebook's really great. It's really, really great. But let's see what Steve has to say here. Technical analysis is best used to create good risk to reward ratios for trade entries and exits, not as a predictive tool for the future. And that is so true. Technical analysis is not predicting the future. There's nothing magical about technical analysis in that it has some future predictive powers. It really doesn't. It just sets you up to create a plan. I mean, yes, you're buying with legitimate support. You should be buying with some kind of legitimate support underneath you, like the 30 RSI or the 50 RSI or the 200-day moving average. Right. And then for me, I like to see trades go under that and then back over that to show me that just recently they tested it and didn't like it. But they're not predictive. They are giving you a structure so that you know when you're right and when you're wrong. And then it's up to you to get out quickly if you are wrong and have the courage to stay in if you're right, and to create a good risk to reward ratio so that when you lose smaller amounts and you have that line in the sand. You have a reference point. That's what technical indicators do. They give you a reference point of where to get out when you're wrong, and to the upside, keeping in the trade for a possible big move to the upside, unless you get some kind of technical signal that tells you something's stalling out or not doing what it's supposed to. So let's read this again. Technical analysis is best used to create good risk-reward ratios for trade entries and exits, not as a predictive tool for the future. So remember that. They're not predictive tools. They're not telling you anything. They're just giving you a good context and levels for risk to reward. And that's the key to trading. Put yourself in good risk to rewards, get out quickly if you're wrong, and have the courage to hold something while it's going your way until you have some kind of counter signal that tells you that it's stopping or slowing down. So anyway, thank you, Steve Burns. Thanks for all you do. Thanks for all your quotes. Thanks for your weekly newsletter that you have at your website, newtraderu.com. I've subscribed to that. I watch it every time. I watched it last night, and it's really helpful. And, Steve gives you a little different approach than I do. I mean, we trade somewhat similar, pretty similar, actually, in a lot of ways. That's because Steve was my coach and teacher for so long. But if you haven't checked it out, it's newtraderu.com. And I would show it on the screen, but I don't want to go to YouTube jail. So hope you understand. But I would really highly recommend that. But thank you so much, Steve, for this. And congratulations on all your great trades in April. Glenn said, Bank of Canada talked out deploying negative interest rates today. Loony week against the dollar and gold. Time for all Canadians to buy more gold. Yeah, well, I think, look at Apple. Man, I'm glad I got out here when I did. Whoa. Let's look at gold. Yeah, it's up today. Well, gold usually responds pretty well when interest rates are low. Frank says, correction, I sold Amazon at the close, $24.74. Sorry about the error. No problem. Frank is a journalist, so he's putting in the retraction. Bing He says, hi Greg, looks like may cut loss on GDX. Yeah, dang it, that one was going your way nicely and just really reversed here, didn't it? All right, real quick, let me take a look at current positions. My once great love Southwest Airlines trade is gone, will be gone today. But again, this is just a good example of why I always like to phase out, because I did phase out at some profitable levels. And if you do get a big move back down like I did today, it's on fewer shares. So it helps, so locked in some profits up here. The market can't take that away. And if it does go down, then it mitigates the loss. So Southwest is going to be out of there. SPY had a horrible overnight SPY trade, but glad at least I sold it where it was, and it's much lower today. I will be buying this again today. And that's it. That's really it. I am grateful that I was pretty light today. I got to tell you that. And had the 2 day trades today, had the Boeing for a small loss and had the Apple for a pretty nice gain. So all in all, not too bad of a day. Being he said, oh yeah, Frank says negative rates are likely here. Yep. Kamal says GDX has a V1 today. Yeah, it certainly does. It certainly does. Now, it's a nice V1. It's a great washout. But for me, because I have all these dang rules, right? It's a beautiful V1, but it's triggering above the 1 ATR channel. It's triggering right back into this range here. So for me, at least, I'm going to be passing on this trade. All right. So, real quick, before I go down through my watch list, just want to remind myself and remind everyone else out there, Choose Wisely Today by Diana Cooper. Choose wisely. Make sure you have a confluence of indicators. Make sure you have a good risk to reward ratio. Make sure you take into consideration your account heat and your correlation, right? Just don't go looking for a trade to get a trade. Wait for a real trade. Better to sit on your hands, sit in cash if you do not have a very clear signal. Don't get your protractor and your ruler out and try to make something a good trade if it's really not. Remember that picture I showed you with all the golfer guys laying down, looking at the golf hole and everything, trying to make something of it? Well, same with here. So just choose wisely today. And that goes for me and for everyone else. Boy, Apple. Apple was up yesterday after hours. And then I woke up this morning and I saw the market and Apple was up $4. I was like, what? Unbelievable. But big V1 today on Apple. You can see we washed out yesterday's high, closing below yesterday's close. Still holding the high of this previous range up here. If you can break above a previous range or the highs here, that will act as support, and it did come down today and this high did act as support. But anyway, I don't want to get involved here. This is quite a bearish bar, so nothing on Apple. Looking for Apple to come back in the value zone. Again, the value zone, guys, is between this green line and this green line, or in other words, the 1 ATR and the negative 1 ATR. Right in the middle runs the 20 EMA, or SMA, because these are SMA bars. So basically right in here is the mean, and stocks are mean reverting, meaning that they go up outside of the mean and they come back to the mean. They go up outside of the mean, back to the mean. They go below the mean, then back up into the mean. So when I say looking for a return to value, I'm looking for a return back to the mean. Adobe has been wild and crazy here. Nothing on Adobe. Again, you're going to hear me say this a lot today. Look, we've poked our head back into the value zone. This is good, but I need it to come down a little bit more, find some support, look for some sideways motion, then look for a V1, V2 entry, mean reversion trade. Amazon, back in the value zone, right? Look here, this entire time we were above the value zone, but I'm looking for a dip. In other words, the dip means a return back into value. We are into value, but that's not enough. We're back into value. That's good, but I need some kind of trigger to get me back in. But I was talking with Kamal about this today. I'm sure you are going to have some buyers in here. People were just waiting for it to come back into the value zone, and that's really where it is. I mean, it's off of its low today, trying to battle with that $2,300 mark, slightly under. Boeing. If you remember, I was considering taking this higher low V1 yesterday, but I did not, because the day before, even though it looks like it was down, it was up. I like it to go under the 1 ATR channel into the value zone, then have a day or two down prices before. So I am thankful that I did not take that trade today. This is down 5.5%. Oh my. Look at Berkshire Hathaway. Boom. So nothing on Berkshire. Beyond Meat had a nice run up, rejected that 200-day, pull back into the value zone is what I'm looking for. It's not quite there yet, but you're going to hear me say the rest of the day, I'm looking for a pullback into value. Caterpillar, down pretty substantially today. I don't see anything there. Carnival Cruise Line down 13% today. Holy smokes. You know, here we were in the value zone. I didn't take this trade. Somebody did. I can't remember now who it was, but you know, sideways motion, everybody, leads to big moves up or big moves down. We just don't know which way, but this sideways motion, this consolidation is winding up, like winding up a watch, a spring in a watch. And when it gets tight enough, it's going to spring either to the upside or the downside. And this one sprung up. Too high to buy up here. Looking for a pullback into value. Dow Jones, negative. It's down today, but positive. We're finally getting into the value zone. There are a lot of buyers that will wait for it to come back in here, just like me. So, you know, just need to see that play out. Walt Disney, sideways motion. Move to the upside, move back down to the value zone. Now I need some sideways motion again and a trigger. Etsy's had this monster run. You know, a lot of FOMO, a lot of people missing out, you know. But again, it's coming back into the value zone. It's not quite there yet, but that's where I'll look to pull the trigger. Facebook down today. You know, we had a gap up over earnings. It looks like we may close below the previous day's low. That's not a good sign if you have a gap up on earnings and within the next 3 days you close below the low of the gap up day, meaning right here. So nothing here for me. Gold up today, bounced in the value zone. I'd like to see this move sideways and look for a valid V1 or V2. Google down today. Lost the 100-day moving average. Goldman Sachs, well, here we are back in the value zone. This is where I start to get interested, just looking for it to go sideways. Home Depot, not doing too bad today considering, but same with Home Depot, pull back into value. IBB, well, this was a big move. Sell off, sell off, sell off again, back in the value zone. So next week, I really may have some setups here. I'm hoping I do. I've been really patient waiting for this pullback. And sometimes you're like, man, I should have bought, I should have broke my rules. But, you know, on days like today, I'm like, okay, I'm glad I followed my rules because we know 90%, 92% of prices fail right up here at this third ATR channel. Doesn't mean they can't go higher. They have. But again, I feel much better buying that dip. People that shorted up here, when it gets into the value zone, they'll be looking to buy it back. People that were not in here and want to get long, they will be looking to buy it back in the value zone. So you'll have two groups of buyers. You'll have shorts covering and you'll have new buyers buying the dip. Intel, above the value zone, back into the value zone. MACD crossed under, showing negative momentum. IWM getting pounded today. Back in the value zone is where I'd be looking. Johnson & Johnson over the 1.8 or above the value zone, pulling back in, was in yesterday. Today it's holding, so I get 1 or 2 day, another 1 day sideways, and then a V1 V2 trigger. I'm in. CarMax, same, not quite there, but getting close to the value zone. Coca-Cola, nope. Nothing there. Lockheed Martin hanging in there. It's holding that 200-day moving average. That's pretty impressive. 1, 2, 3, 4 days it tested the 200-day moving average. MACD is still positive. Did reject the 100-day though. MasterCard down pretty good today, but back in the value zone. Closed above the 200-day moving average. I didn't buy it up here because it's above the second ATR channel. Lost it yesterday. But again, I'd like to own MasterCard, but somewhere back here. Mickey D's back in the value zone. Merck, wow. Not doing so hot tamale. For Merck, we're below the 1 ATR channel now. I'd like to see it rally into the value zone. Don't want to buy that first one though. Into the value zone, have it sell off for a day or two, and then pick up that higher low V1 or V2. Microsoft, back into the value zone. Netflix, holding in pretty good for being he today. V1 to the downside and rejection of the 1 ATR channel. Nike down 2.08% today, but back in the value zone. If we can stop going down, sideways motion, ideally the price coming down, rejecting the -1 ATR channel and reversing back up is where I would be looking to buy. Philip Morris down today, holding this range over here, so that's somewhat positive. PayPal, again, just too extended. Needed to come back to the value zone, maybe test the 200-day in the value zone. That would be good. Q's peeking their head back into the value zone, not quite there. Silver down a little bit. Looks like we had a cross under on the 520 EMA. If it were to close back over, that is a back-tested signal for silver. Usually works better on AGQ. AGQ is the double leverage, but you can see the 5 is below the 20 here. But if it does, this does back test better than silver. If it could close, the 5 could close above the 5 could close above the 20 EMA. That would be a signal I would take. SPY got clobbered on that one, but we'll be buying that again at the end of the day. Teladoc, here we go again. We're above the 1 ATR channel. Come back into the value zone. We held for one day, but then made a new low. Here we're holding for another day, actually up today. Interesting. But again, people that shorted up here, I wish I would have shorted there. I remember telling everybody I did not like that bar. But anyway, that would have been, but that's how it goes. Probably people that shorted up here are starting to cover down here. People that are interested in getting into this company, probably buying, looking to buy down here. But still, I need a valid trigger. TLT, that's up for being heated today. Glad to see that. Tesla down 10%. But again, stocks are mean reverting. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it, but they are. Here we are above the value zone, back in the value zone, above the value zone, back in the value zone. Just need to see it stop going down. Twitter down another 3%, but back in the value zone. So you can see everything got overextended, got a little high, got a little ahead of itself. Now it's pulling back, and this is where, hopefully next week I can get some of these return to values. Man, look at United Continental down 11%. My goodness. Natural gas down. United Healthcare Group finally pulling back into value. USO down today, but not too bad. USO is the oil ETF. That's hanging in there pretty well. Look at this bar intraday. I don't know what was going on, but look at this. Oh, this is a perfect example, everybody. I wish I had been watching this. Above the 1 ATR channel, back in the value zone, sideways movement. Look at this beautiful V1. This is what I'm talking about, everybody. I'm talking about prices going above the 1 ATR channel, coming into the value zone, moving sideways, and then looking for a V1 or V2. I mean, this is about as perfect of a setup as I can get. Look at this beautiful V1, and look at that thing take off. Shoot. I would have bought this 1,000,000% if I would have seen this. And then it moved up. No reason to get out. Maybe here with the rejection of the third ATR channel and the V1 to the downside. Most likely I would have gotten out there. But man, would that have been a great trade. Darn it. I wish I would have seen that one. Oh, well, that's how it goes. But please try to emblazon this into your mind. Above the 1 ATR channel. Back into the value zone. Sideways movement. Spike down, reversal back up, close above the previous day's close. Stop would have been here for a, if the next bar would have closed under there, but giving yourself, a good risk reward ratio from here to here. Maybe if you're wrong, if from here up, if you're potentially right. I'm glad I looked at this because that is a perfect example. Really good. VIX up like a monster today. Look at that. Look at that. I know, Zach. I know exactly what you're feeling. Sorry, buddy, but you followed your plan and you got out. We were below the 1 ATR channel in the value zone. I looked for a little pullback and then a V1, V2. Verizon, had a lot of that sideways motion. Now we've had to move down. Walgreens. Oh man, that's nasty. Walmart off of its highs today, so energy is down, but it's had a nice run back into the value zone. Financials, nice run back into the value zone. Real estate, back in the value zone. Utilities could not hold the value zone. Now they're closing below. Healthcare peeking its head back down. And Zoom, pretty nice above the 1 ATR channel, back into the value zone. Today it stopped going down. Need one more day of stop going down and then a V1, V2. So I don't see anything here, everybody. I'm going to get out of love, which is Southwest, and pretty close to an even trade. Unfortunate that I have to give it back, but that's how it goes. But again, just very happy today that I was quite light. Yeah, I gotta say. Okay. Zach says, Greg, do your rules permit you to take a trade under the -1 ATR channel, or does it need to fall between the value zone? It's a good question. For a higher low V1 or return to value, Zach, yeah, I need it to be in the value zone. I still will take trades above the value zone on a crossover to the upside, and I will buy deep dip buys under the 1 ATR channel if they're in the 30 RSI range. But for a return to value or a higher low V1, it has to be in the value zone. Frank says President Trump is encouraging the Fed to go negative. Steve says, I'm going to take IWM for a new entry point. Oh, really? Okay, on the 5. Okay. Oh, IWM crossed today. Interesting. You know what? That is valid. It's scary to buy, but let's see if I have enough time to do this. All right, I'm with you on that, Steve. Super scary to buy it, but here you do have the cross, and it is in a reasonable area. So I am going to go ahead and buy that. Because that's valid. It's scary, but it's valid. It's a 1050 SMA cross, and it's below, for me, it's below the second ATR channel. So, you know, that's how it goes. That is how it goes, but that is a legitimate signal. Thanks for pointing that out, Steve. I forgot to look at that. Javier says BRKB is cratering, not good. Bing He said exited GDX. Okay. Kamal, is the V1 on gold? There is a V1 on gold, but no sideways motion. When a trader breaks their rules and succeed in a trade, it is a signal to double up on the discipline to break bad habits. True. Greg, thanks for review earlier on MTA. Can you put in on your board, please? I bought MTA at 547. You got it, Dirk. Okay. Okay, well, there's the market close. Okay. We have Dirk on the board. Nice. Zach said, I sold my GME at $5.99. Perfect. So Zach hit a double. He got out, higher price, bought in, lower price, sold again, added a higher price, and his plan was to get out. And he got out at $5.99. Okay. Beautiful trade, Zach. Zach, kudos. Yep. Glad you followed your plan. Okay. So Southwest is gone, but technically it was a profitable trade, so that is good. And then IWM I bought, and where did I buy Mr. IWM at? I bought it. And where did I buy it? I bought it at 215.01. And SPY I bought at 282.79. All right. $125.01. Well, that's a good start. That is a good start there. And Steve is also in that, so let me put Steve there. And then SPY I got at 282.79. 282.79. Okay, so took one off today, put one on, added IWM with the 1050 crossover, re-entered here SPY 282.79, excuse me. Glenn says, Greg, institution buy bonds and sell equities at the start of month. Bears need a close below 2,800 on Monday. April started similar, and we know how that finished. Yeah, we do, don't we? And it's May. Generally from May until October is a bearish time of the year. But anyway, sometimes, not all the time. So that is why I did enter that 1050 SMA crossover. So I believe, I don't know, Steve, if you're still out there, but I think Steve closed all his positions today except for IWM. If you're still listening, Steve, just to confirm, let me know and I'll take those off the board. And if anybody has any other changes, let me know. I know Bing He got out of the GDX, still holding on to TXT. Dirk, we got that down. I think Bing He's still in Netflix. So anyway, if there's any changes, please let me know. So listen, if you have any other questions or jokes or comments or anything else need clarification, please let me know before before we get to that. Just want to quickly put in my little daily plug and let everybody know that I do offer private one-on-one coaching and teaching lessons in the evening time via Skype. I've traded for 24 years. I've had 4 really great coaches in my career, Stephen Burns and Larry Williams, Dr. Alexander Elder, Carrie Lavorne. I've learned all sorts of great things from these great traders and authors. I studied one-on-one with each of them. And the course that I provide, I teach everything that they have taught me over these 24 years. And so I do have a course. It's via Skype. It's in the evening times. It's one-on-one. It's pretty intense. There's 5 sessions. Each session is 3 hours. So it's 15 hours total. So, you know, if you're interested in taking it, I really think you'll enjoy it. It does cost $1,000, but I think it is definitely worth the money. I think it's worth every penny. So, you know, if you've been thinking about it and would like to take the course, please reach out to me. You can send me an email. My email is in the description of this video, and also you can send me a message on Twitter. But before I take on a new student, I like to have a Skype call with them, and it's free. There's no pressure. That way you can ask me any questions about the course. I can ask you a little bit about you and see if it's a good fit going forward. And if it is, great, we'll schedule it. If not, then it was nice meeting you and putting a name, face with the name. So yeah, if you're interested, reach out to me. I think you will really enjoy it. And secondly, if you like today's podcast, if you like the content, if it's helping you in any way, all I ask is that you just take half a second, hit that thumbs up button, and before you click out of here. So that's it. There's my little plug for today. Zach says, gonna head out early, Greg. Thank you for all your work this week. Have a wonderful weekend. You too, sir. Have a good weekend, Zach. Frank says, does the old adage of sell in May and go away actually backtest? Yeah, it does, Frank. I remember Steve Burns, I think it was Steve, posted the results, the long-term backtested results of that. And from the report that I saw, from the test that I saw, Frank, yeah, I mean, it's definitively weaker from May until October, and October until April, or November until April, the strongest months. Not every year, but in the aggregate, 100%. All right, so I am going to take Q's off for Steve. I'm going to take Nike off for Steve. I'm going to take QLD off for Steve. Monster. SPY. Come on now. All right. Well, we've cleaned the deck here quite a bit, haven't we? All right, so all I have is SPY and IWM. All right, so we've cleaned house. So SPY's down after hours, IWM is up a little bit after hours. All right. Glenn says, joke. We need to uninstall 2020 and then try reinstalling it. The current version has a nasty virus. Yes, true, Glenn. Yep. Yeah, we need a redo. We need a redo on 2020. So after I log off here, I am off to the dentist. Never liked going to the dentist, although he's a nice guy. But anyway, time for a checkup, teeth cleaning. This will be the first time I will be around actual people in like a month and a half. Isn't that crazy? Seems strange. Okay, where did we end up down? 622 points. Wow. And the NASDAQ really got clobbered. 284 points. That's amazing. Frank says the IWM trade is compelling, but I'll have to wait until Monday morning. Yep. Who knows? You know, who knows? I didn't like taking it. I can tell you that, Frank. I just held my nose, right? But it is a valid signal, and it fits my parameters. And my parameters would be that here's the crossover, but you know, if it crossed over and the price was above the second ATR channel, Usually I don't want to take it that high. And the thinking behind it is that, if 90% of prices fail at the third ATR channel, then from the second to the third is, theoretically or statistically what I will get. I mean, obviously, if you're up in this range, there's some upward momentum, but here we are. This is slightly over the 1 ATR channel. We have had a couple days down. So this, it held the 50 RSI. It held the -1 ATR channel, which when you're below it acts as resistance, but now it's acting as support. We do have the 50 acting as support, but anyway, on these, I do pick and choose which crossovers I take, but this one does allow me. So, there's really no reason to not take this trade for me. If the price has a big down day tomorrow and closes below both the 10 and the 50 on Monday, I'll get out of half the position and I'll ride the rest until the 10 crosses under the 50, or unless I hit my stop loss. Okay. Oh, yeah. Excuse me. Steve did exit all his positions. He exited QLD, SPY, Square, Monster, Nike, and IWM. All right. Okay. Oh, your after hour dip by go through at 125.25. All right. Well, let's put you on the board then. All right. Frank and Steve, I'm in good company. Miko says, thanks, Greg. Have a great weekend after the dentist. Yeah, we'll see how the dentist goes. Thank you. I hope you have a good weekend too. And by the way, Miko, we should have a follow-up call just to see how you're doing, see if you have any other questions. Miko's done with his course with me, but after I get done with the course with my students, I like to have, follow-up calls and conversations just to see if they have questions and how they're doing. So it's important to me that my students do well. Really important. Okay. Javier says, Greg and Elon are quite the same. We are? Oh, Elon conference call, 3:30, because normally buying a car is quite a pain. For most people, they would rather go to the dentist than buy a new car. Actually, my dentist is but it's oh, yes, that's right. That's right. Well, I guess we feel the same way about the dentist. Elon and I do. Sounds good. I'll contact you next week. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, listen, last chance. If anybody has any questions, let me know. I do want to always leave you off with, please have a nice weekend, safe weekend. Study your charts, go through your charts, look at support, resistance levels, look for a combination of indicators. But most importantly, please try to go out and do something nice for somebody today and every day, just a smile or a wave or be pleasant. We need more of this in this world. And, in this particular situation we're in right now, go out and or pick up the phone and call somebody. They may really appreciate that you called. All right. Well, I think that's it then. Appreciate you being here, everybody. Really do. Pretty intense day, but we'll see what next week brings. All right. So, and again, if you haven't clicked off and you like the channel, I would appreciate if you would subscribe and hit the thumbs up button. All right. Thanks, Bing He. I'm going to read that email in more depth later. Okay. But thanks for coming. Hope you have a good day. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.